Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to another live stream over on the Chasing Rank YouTube channel. As always, it is myself and Dom, but there is an admission tonight, and that is, of course, no Pavlos. Unfortunately, Paulie has the spicy cough and a bit of COVID, but he is joining us here. He will be in the chat, and he is taking the lead of the production. Just not going to be on screen. Unfortunately, he's in the wars. But a man that's not in the wars and has enjoyed a very good game rank and a very good game week is Dom. And how are you doing, mate?
After waking up to see the result of a certain game and the performance of a certain player,
Yep.
very, very happy. Almost half my rank. I'm sure a lot of you in the chat can guess who the player is, but if you can't,
yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people would already know who that player is definitely going to be, and we'll get to that in just a second as well. We've already got a comment in chat. It's from our league leader over in the Chasing Rank channel. So there you are, which is pretty cool too. And
first time in the chat.
Yep. And with that as well being said, too, obviously, not a bad game week for myself as well. I think all three of us on a game week green arrow and also very close together in terms of total points, which is pretty cool too. I know that Pavlos is not here with us, but Paulie, if you could bring off the lowest game week score of the week for us, we'll talk through that. And off the top of my head, I reckon it's yourself, mate. Which it is indeed. Thank you very much there, Paul. I believe that is Paulie's team. As you can see on screen is Pavlos. He did get a small green arrow with all the auto subs. He did start Yorkeres and Semenyo getting Anderson off his bench on top of Xhaka. So very well done. Apparently a small red arrow from Pavlos, actually. It ended up on a small red, but it was on a small green. Which is perfectly fine. If we're looking at Fallers and Ballers without speaking too much about Paulie and his team, Fallers were, of course, Mbeumo playing against 10 men, which may be a common theme for all three of us. Mateta having an absolute stinker of a game week as well, and off, I think, before the 60th minute off the top of my head. And probably other Fallers, probably the fact that he didn't get any other major points and Arsenal, no clean sheet, etc. But I think his Ballers, if I was going to do it for him, obviously, the big man is Anderson. Paulie, you can see him. Look at the mouse movement. Look at the mouse movement. Look at Anderson. Look at Anderson. The Drew Anderson boys, for sure, which is really good. And I think if I was going to put a third one out there, it's definitely Timber, because he's done really, really well to go and pivot from Gabriel to Timber. And even though Arsenal did not keep a clean sheet, they got the 5 points from Timber, which is pretty damn good. So there we are. Awesome. You'll move us on to
Paul, touching on Paul's team, I think he's very disappointed with Jack Grealish past month or so, specifically today's game. I know they were down to 10 men, but I know in the past few weeks Paul's not been happy with his performance. So I think he might be moved on, but a bit disappointing from Jackie Boy, who started so promisingly.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame. I think when Paul picked him up, he was very hyped as a player, and he's definitely still passing the eye test, still looks dangerous, but he's more that creator, where NDI, which was the other one Paul was looking at, a bit more direct, and is definitely one of those players that probably gets more, FPL points, more avenues to FPL points. But a small red arrow for Paul. He actually went from 98k to out to the top 100k to 106k, which is, nothing to be sneezed at. Still a great rank to be in, and a great spot to chase a top 50, top 25, or even a top 10k finish for Pavlos as well. I think with that being said, Paul, we've probably done your team enough. Move us along to team number 2. And unfortunately, it is it's not Dom. It is myself, Dom, winning the battle of us three this week down to a certain man. And I'll be very surprised if he ain't in your ballers. I'm going to start with Fallers first, then go to ballers. Fallers for me, for those that don't know and not following on the Twitter, I highly recommend you do follow the Chasing Rank Twitter. We will get our screenshots out. Big faller for me was the double Liverpool defense. Actually moved Gabriel and Dan Burn out for both Virgil and Kanate, trying to play the fixture swing for the Liverpool Football Club, thinking that we would solve our issues. Again, another game we've only conceded 1.1 XG, which means you shouldn't really concede 3 goals. We've conceded 3, so bit of a problem there. But yeah, Kanate and Virgil, even if with his defensive contributions, both getting the fallers here. The other one's obviously Mbeumo, playing against 10 men for so long. Definitely seems like the type of player that needs to be playing solely on the break to get in behind teams, and does not like playing against some low block. My Other faller this week, and this will be harsh, is going to be Saka. Any day that Arsenal score 4 and you've captained Saka and Haaland's already blanked, you're dreaming of massive upside, massive returns, and a big green arrow. So yeah, even though he's hit his DC for another time or two, it's not particularly nice to captain Saka for the second week in a row. He's outscored Haaland, and it would have probably been a lot bigger. In terms of the ballers for myself, though, had a certain someone come off the bench, and that's Larox. Had him first sub for Semenyo, and that's worked out swimmingly with 11 points. And even though I'm about to sell him, Enzo Fernandez, after many, many, many game weeks of him blanking, finally returns right in the week that I plan on selling him. So those are my ballers. But the man that won from all of us this week is Dom. And Dom, tell us, how did you shave half your rank off and get into the top 200K?
Thanks to one man. He's finally delivered. Took a couple of weeks, but a North London Derby hat trick for Eze, and boy, did he look good in that number 10 role. What more is there to say? Like, the biggest game of the season, and he delivers. Bit of luck on my arm, but picking him, tossing up between him and Saka. But I thought, you know what? Let's go for the point of difference. Let's go for Eze. Proven FPL, got a good team around him, and Spurs leak goals. So it's always targeting this fixture, and he's finally delivered. So obviously there's my bowler. There's my number one bowler. He's the bowler of the game week. I just hope he kicks on and it's not just a one-game wonder. But maybe not this week because they're playing Chelsea, so he can blank this week. It's fine. Obviously, and then onto the boy we were talking about today in the chat. So Minte, another 2 assists with his 3 bonus points. He's just getting it done. And there's not many wingers. You can only think of a few off the top of your head that are 90-minute men. This guy's a 90-minute man every week, 89 minutes, 90 minutes. He's just delivering. So Paul's going to get into that, I believe, now. So look at that. Outside of Salah, Saka even doesn't really do it. Who do you know that's a 90-minute man playing on the wing? So, that's what you want. And he's just so good. Just so good. I don't see him being at Brighton within 2 years. Like, he's gone to a Champions League team, whether it's in England, whether it's overseas. I'm very happy with him.
Yeah, typical Brighton blueprint, finding all these gems, developing them, making them that near world-class talent and selling them on for world-class amount of money to a team. And then they go beyond. Look at Sosado and the things he's doing now after his big move to Chelsea. They
always just seem to be like Cucurella, McAllister.
Yeah,
they don't really miss. They just have such a talent of unearthing gems. And I know it was a bit of a controversy with Minte. Newcastle had to sell him for FFP, but they're benefiting from it. And he's a £100 million player. I feel like in a few years. So yeah, and then my last one, Go Richards, clean sheet.
Yep.
Was expecting some DC, but they had the ball, so tricky. Wolves are a target fixture, but then it's my folders. I'm probably going to go O'Reilly. I mean, he's been so good lately, so it's hard to say that. But Walter Marte, I think he had an assist removed not long after the game because I woke up, he had an assist. He had 5 points, I think, 6 points. Then it was removed, but I think watching the highlights, he didn't deserve to be given it. And then obviously Mbueno. So I'm happy to touch on that one when we talk about the game. But I think the red card negatively affected him, which is crazy to think. But the 3 of us were talking in the chat this morning. But anyway, we'll touch on it in the game because it's a very interesting topic that I'd love to get into.
I agree. And I know that Paul, if he was in the chat today, would probably be discussing it as well, which is pretty good. I think Pauly next on our list is to actually talk about the game week itself. So if you can go to Fantasy Football Hub and pull up the fixtures and the results, me and Dom are now spending some time. As always, though, guys, obviously we always aim for about 20 likes on each of these live streams. That would be pretty cool. And if you are new around here, hit the sub button. We're up to 176 subs. Would love to get out of here at about 180 if we could as well. So that would be fantastic with that too. There's obviously some very interesting games to talk about. And Paulie has got us up here. And we'll hand it over to the first game of the game week, which is the resident Chelsea fan, which is Dom. And talk us through from fantasy perspective of the Burnley and Chelsea game, mate.
It wasn't the best game to watch. From a neutral, definitely. As a Chelsea fan, it's good. It's an easy win. We don't get many of them. From a fantasy perspective, I'll touch on the first half first. Someone that all 3 of us really, really talk about, and I really hope there's a clip of it. Pedro Neto, he's another one that's not far off a 90-minute man in an attacking team on the wing. His end product's not always there, but it was there. It was there. Gets into a good position, gets a header. Great assist from Gittins, who's been a bit shaky, but yeah, he's just a 90-minute man playing on the wing, and I'm surprised he's not in more teams. And he's someone we spoke about in the pod. And kudos to the people who went Neto over Enzo, because that was the play in long term. But obviously, Enzo gets his goal, gets a nice goal. Look at the position he's in. That's where you want him to be. I know, Damo, you were cursing him in the first half, so I think he hurt you, but he gets his goal finally. You know, if he doesn't score there, I think he's moved on. But honestly, I think if you have him, do you move him on, or do you just let him go? Like, he's scored. It's hard to move a player that scored.
I think it's very close with Enzo. Obviously, someone else that was heavily invested in this game, like myself, watched the full 90. And nice to see Enzo finally pop up. Is the performances as a player have been there, but the performances as a fantasy asset have not. He's never been that one that's the last, the last touch for the assist, or the one that gets the goal scoring opportunity. It's always been he's been the assister to the assist, or he's in the right area. Like Neto's header, for instance. I remember swearing in our group chat just about how Enzo oh so nearly again. And you look at it, he's in the right area, ball's going over his head to Neto. Like on a different day, it falls on his head. I just feel like if you've had Enzo over Neto, it's been very unlucky. But Neto being massive upside was a great pick if you went there. I think the question in terms of do you keep him this week will depend a lot on your team. Like for myself, there's a world where I don't have to sell him this week. And if you get through this week, then I believe it's Leeds. Leeds, Aston Villa, and Forest, I reckon, off the top of my head. I can actually bring that up right now.
I'll tell you where he goes. He goes Arsenal at home, obviously.
Yep. And then
he goes Leeds.
Yep.
Bournemouth.
Yep.
Everton.
Yep.
Newcastle, who all over the place at the moment.
Yep.
Villa at home.
Yep.
Bournemouth at home.
Yep.
Yeah, that can't be right. Oh, yeah, no, that's game week 19.
Yeah, they play Bournemouth at home again, and then it's City, and that's 20 to game week 20, right? The thing is like if you get rid of Enzo, now's a jumping off point because he's got the hard fixture of Arsenal, and those next few fixtures, there's some good ones. Leeds, but it's Leeds away, it's not Leeds at home. Leeds have been better away from home. Everton is definitely no easy pushover, and you saw this morning they made life very difficult for United, obviously. Newcastle a bit all over the shop. Villa's probably easy to get at. Bournemouth on their day are really good. City's really, obviously a good side. So you can get off Enzo. The reason why it's a discussion is if you can get through this game week, the fixtures are okay. And then post game week 20, and I know it's a really long-term view, you then get Fulham, Brentford, Palace, West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley in a row. So you're going to want him, but there will also be the question of Cole Palmer, what role was Enzo playing, etc. as well. I think if you have Enzo, and as your question is, it's either get rid of him this game week or prepare to hold him till game week 30 if you play next wild card.
Agreed. But yeah, that's about where we're at. Three clean sheets in a row for Chelsea, which is unheard of. So if you're holding defenders through those 3 weeks, fair play to you. If you're holding Robert Sanchez, you're done well. Didn't expect it. Anyway,
done pretty well. I don't think there's much to talk about from a Burnley point of view here. Obviously they're major players that you're looking at, Dubravka and Stev. Dubravka made some saves and Stev got his DC. So they're
definitely for where they're at. They're doing all right, and I think there's a world they stay up. So they didn't look awful. They had a couple half chances, but there was no point where I said, "Oh, it's going to be a pumping."
Correct. And that was the thing, yet again, I think their best creative player was probably Anthony on the day. There's a couple of nice passes played first half in the line, but not much to talk about there. We'll move on to the next game, which is Bournemouth and West Ham. And as the resident goalkeeper from here, this is hands down the best goalkeeper performance of the season. And I has to go to Ariola. I think he denied something like 3 XG on the day. It was ridiculous. If you haven't watched the highlights and you're someone that likes seeing some good goalkeeping, it was the Ariola of old. It reminded you of the prime days of Ariola on FIFA, FIFA like 16, pulling off saves out of nowhere. So, look, great performance from the West Ham man. I will say straight off the top of the bat, though, this is another example of West Ham being very poor and probably a team we need to target. Yeah, it's finished 2-2 on the day, but this is a game where if it wasn't for their keeper, they've conceded 5. So I still think they're a team to target. From a fantasy point of view, Senesi getting an assist is great. You're looking at DC yet again. Senesi didn't have too much DC, and that's because Bournemouth really did boss the game. And if you do have a West Ham asset, they just don't look good going forward. I know they've scored 2 here, but the whole season, it just looks very ominous of a side going down, and they're not the kind of assets that we kind of want here from a fantasy perspective. But your thoughts on the game, Dom?
Oh, I didn't see much of it. Big talking point is Callum Wilson banging a double with Fulkrug leaving. Could he be an option? What do you
historically
think?
a good pick, but I would have to see what his fitness levels are like. Also, someone historically that loves to get injured, like Calvert-Lewin. And as Paul's mentioned in our private chat, the 2 goals are lucky as. And if you watch the goals back, I think they're very fortunate as well. So I don't know if I would be knee-jerking too much on the 2 goals, but maybe one. And I'm always like this. You see a performance, like, all right, put it in the back of your head. I'll revisit that if he's got some data, and over a few game weeks you start seeing it. You know, it's like when you try and predict the Welbeck run of goals. Wilson's that sort of player. He's a bit streaky. You need to see it. You know, you get that taste. It's like, oh, okay, the starting 9 need to actually fit. This might be the 4 games, so they go bang, 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 and then do another hamstring, all right? So, but yeah, I thought West Ham very fortunate on a different day to lose that game 5-2 or 5-0. So there you are.
Anyway, without Semenyo, Bournemouth, not really much of a talking point. Hopefully he's back this week, though.
Yeah, correct. I think Evan Nielsen coming back probably kills a lot of Krupa Junior owners, and we'll move along. I am definitely going to hand over to you for the Brighton-Brentford game, though, mate, because you own the guy that I think I want to buy this week. Talk me through Minte's performance and what you've thought of this match in general.
Just another great performance. He's so direct. He's so quick. Gets the ball at his feet, and every time he's just looking to attack. And that's what you want from your attacking assets. That's what you want from your wingers. One of the assists is a bit lucky, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's an assist, isn't it?
Points.
Points on the board. And it's a bonus point machine, 36 there. Says it all, really,
Yeah.
So anyway, but Welbeck, another goal, just doesn't stop, just knows how to find the back of the net. Like, he's done it for 10 years now. So just, he's a safe bet. He's just inevitable. You're never going to own him, but you're going to think, wow, I should have put Welbeck in my team. But then again, Thiago gets another goal as well. I think he's the 3rd top scorer in the league. So he's just ticking along nicely. If you have owned him, you do yourself unlucky because he missed a penalty, didn't he?
He did.
So that could have been a monster score. That's the 3 bonus there. That's 12, 11 points. But yeah. Nice. 2 number 9s from 2 mid-table teams. And don't we love a mid-table number 9 for FPL?
Oh, we all love a mid-table number 9 that's banging them in. Someone that obviously earmarked this game to watch back because there was a couple of assets that I want from either side here moving forward. I thought it was a great game for a lot of us fantasy Premier League managers looking to take that more aggressive move. Minte really showcasing why we all love him and why he's a great fantasy pick. He's just so direct, main goal threat, exactly what you want. Which is great. And awesome. Yeah. And let's move along. We got Fulham and Sunderland. Not much to write home about here. There's not many people that own anyone. If you had to play a Sunderland asset in at the back, then so be it. I think a lot of people here may own Roofs, and he put in another great performance, making a few saves. But look, if you had Anderson, you probably played him. You probably got your 10 points in your DC. He's very
and
very
the 2 bonus. Fair play, like Pauly did.
Yep, Paul did his job, and off you go.
Damo, take the lead, brother.
I knew this was coming.
I woke up to a message at about 5:30 from Damo, and all it said was slot out.
Yeah. Now that was
Damo's the king of an overreaction, though, guys. So
I was very knee-jerk. I'm actually not in the slot out camp personally.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't be. As you shouldn't be.
Very knee-jerky. First things first is I did get up to watch the game at 3:30 in the morning. Snuck off out of bed, and all well and good. What I was more annoyed at is the fact that obviously Kanate coming off before the 60th minute, but it had to be done. It was tactical by the looks of it. He was pretty poor. And look, I think if you're a Liverpool owner of a Liverpool assets, you 2 things. You're very worried and you're very unlucky. And let me explain why you're both. You're very worried because they do not pass the eye test at the moment at all, going up front, at the back. It all looks all over the shop. And the reason why you're unlucky, this is, I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we have 5th or the 6th XGA in the table. So we should have the 5th or 6th best defense. We only put up 1.2 XG in this game. We conceded 3 goals, XGA in this game. And we had over 2 XG. At some point, a team as well class as this is going to have to turn and perform to their data. And this is where in our group chat, I keep saying, if Wirtz is fit, he's worth the punt. Or, maybe it's maybe it is a Gakpo, or maybe do you find a way to maybe get Isak in over this run, because if it's ever going to turn, it's over these run of fixtures.
Yeah, it has to turn eventually.
Yeah, but you're a very brave man to do it, because a hallmark of a bad side is they put up that data and never perform. And that's what's happened here. Clearly, if you've got to pick a Liverpool player, it's Van Dijk, because at least he gets his DC and plays 90 no matter what. But over to Forest, I think this is a flash in the pan, personally. From what I want. Look, I thought they were good. They came with a plan and, they executed. But really, I think this is a flash in the pan. I think they're still a team that can be quite got at and quite open on a different day. We would have scored 3 ourselves. It's good for Murillo and Milenkovic owners. And where was this when we all had Murillo and Milenkovic back in the day? But yeah, I think, look, people who own Anderson, people who own Murillo, people who own Milenkovic, great, you got your points, well done. This ain't going to happen every game week, and I still think this Forest side is still going to leak goals moving forward. I still think they're not that great under Daesh, and I think this is not a case to go, oh my God, Forest are back, they're finishing in Europe, go buy their players. I think this is a case of a underperforming Liverpool side versus a Forest side that's had a worldie, and I think that's all that needs to be said.
Yep, moving on.
Palace and Wolves. Dom, over to you with this one. What
this
did you
is
think
not from FPL perspective. Do you think Wolves break Derby County's record? The 11 points or whatever it was.
No, I think they're have
just 2 points.
Quality. Yeah, I think they just have enough quality to get past 11.
All right, we'll reconvene at the end of the season, because I think there's a world where they're putting up less than 11 points.
I think they beat West Ham, and then they'll beat some other sides at home.
I just don't see them beating anyone. I think they've played all 3 of the promoted teams too.
But all 3 promoted teams are better than the promoted teams we've seen.
True, which is good. Which is
great. Which is great. 2 established Premier League sides are going down, and 2 of the 3 promoted teams are staying up this year.
Which is good. Anyway, Palace, how does Mateta not walk away with something here?
How does Sarr?
Sarr as well.
Yeah, look, Palace, they look good again. And if you didn't go Manoz, you're very unlucky. If you went with like Richards, like you're great, it's ticking over. But then you have Larox, who went ballistic and got 11 as well. Had an assist taken off him too. No, it says an A there, but it did get taken off him. He got 11 points. It would have been more with the assist, of course. Manoz's goal, which was great as well. No, sorry, he got DC taken off him. Apologies, not the assist for Larox. He got the DC taken off after the game. There also would have been an extra couple of points there as well. But yeah, defensively, they look great. Manoz looks sensational. It's another one of those games where Mateta probably should have done more, and you pretty feel if you own him. But he's definitely one of the best striking assets to own moving forward, and I wouldn't need Joe too much here. I think Palace are great, and I honestly think Palace are going to be a side that finishes top 6 this season. So there you go.
Ooh. You did say that. You've said that for a while.
I've said that a lot. I've said that since the start of the season. I think they're great. I sneakily want to say they're going to finish top 4, but I won't go that far.
Yeah, let's not go that far.
Let's not go that far. The Man City Newcastle game. What a game! Great to see a Newcastle getting a win here. Great game of football. I sold my Newcastle assets, and I don't have a City asset, but you do an O'Reilly. Dom, what did you make of this?
It's just one of those City games we see a few of them a year where they're just off, like they're just so off. Like Haaland just turns into dirt mode. Missed 2 absolute sitters. Like on another day, he's got 4. He's got 4 goals. It was just one of those City games we've seen. It's normal for Pep. A few times a season, where they just forget how to play. Wouldn't worry if you're a Haaland owner. Obviously, he's just scoring for fun. If you own O'Reilly like myself, not bothered. Just one of those games. But fair play to Newcastle. Harvey Barnes with a double.
Good to see him back.
I think could be a play. And Paul mentioned, Foden missed an absolute sitter. Like when you think of Foden, you think of this one buried. Just pushed it across goal. But wouldn't bother me. But yeah, Harvey Barnes could be a play. But Newcastle this just sums Newcastle up. Like stinker last week, go beat City. Probably drop a stinker next week again.
Yeah, they're very hit and miss, and even though they put up good data, it's kind of like Liverpool with their defensive data. It looks so good, and then they just go drop a stinker. Where Liverpool are dropping consistent stinkers, which is not great. But Bruno Guimaraes is going massively under the radar, I feel, this year. He always seems to be getting either DC or an assist, or he pops up with a goal. He might be one of those set and forgets. Honestly, in the middle of the park, he could really be. He always passes the eye test too. I think if you have any City players, though, do not knee jerk because they missed consistent amount of sitters in this game. Haaland, as you mentioned, Foden missed a big one. There was a couple other half moments too. I think if you own City players, you're keeping them. Wouldn't even go near not captaining the robot this week. I think he's set and forget captain, obviously, as well against Leeds. And there's a well where they go slap Leeds 5-6-0. And I think with the data they're putting up, they're going to go on a run where they win 20 games in a row, can score 2 goals plus every game and keep clean sheets too. So 100%. I think we've got a City asset. Still keep them.
Yeah, 100%.
Villa and Leeds, interesting game. I don't think many of us have Leeds assets. If you do, then interesting. You probably benched them in this one here. Rodon again getting his DC though. So if you do have Rodon,
nice tick along. One player I want to touch on. He was in I put out a tweet for a game week 12 potential wild card. Delivers Morgan Rogers at the double with 49 bonus points, system points, which is astronomical.
Why do you like him so much, Dom?
He's just got the role. He's playing in the 10, but drifts out wide. He has a bit of a free role. He's just a quality player. And with Watkins, we don't know. I don't know what's going on with there. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I think he's the guy. He's the main guy, Rogers. And I've just always loved him as a player. Owned him last season. Someone I'm looking at moving forward. Hence was in the wildcard team. Couldn't pull the trigger, just couldn't make it work. But someone on the radar who's just a quality player. Just has an eye for goal.
Definitely agree. We know all the historical data from last year, which was great. Obviously, we all had him because it was 5.0 or 5.5 last year. Great enabler. We expected a lot more of him this year, and Villa obviously started really poor, but it looks like Villa are starting to turn the corner. I wouldn't turn the corner completely.
Do they have Europe?
And I think, they are. And then I think with Villa, if they're playing well, Rodgers is the one that's driving that team. He's kind of that talisman. He's kind of, without putting him in the same bracket, it's kind of what Eze was to Palace, that main man, that massive driving factor. And I think with the fixtures they've got coming up, this is definitely a very pickable.
He's a guy who lifts the whole club when he's playing.
Yeah, wouldn't go anywhere else, but he's definitely the asset if you're going to go for Villa fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, the Arsenal 4-1. Look, I should talk about this game, but I'm not because I got it wrong and you got it right, Dom. Talk us through Eze. What did you make of it?
I touched on it earlier. What's more to say? You're banging in a hat trick in a North London derby. Like, what more is there to do? 81 bonus points, system points. Mental. Yep. Just did everything, finally delivered. I just wonder if he's going to kick on, if this is a fluke. And part of me feels like it was a bit of a fluke, but obviously we take it. So I'm keen to see how he backs it up because he's hasn't really shown signs of it this season. It's like half signs, but nothing like this. But I'm more than happy to benefit from it. Spurs just horrendous. Like their goal was from halfway, never doing that again. Like I honestly think, and you might call me crazy, could they be a target fixture like with the Spurs of last season?
I think there's a merit to it. I'm now no longer going like start of the season. We're like, Spurs. We probably don't want to go. I think they're definitely a player that's worth holding and playing against Spurs. Put it this way, I thought they're that much of a target fixture. I captained Saka this week, right? And look, by the way, Saka's got DC for the second week in a row. And if Saka is getting DC now in a lot more games, I have a theory as to why he's getting DC a lot more this season. But if he's getting a DC in a lot more games, that makes him very viable to keep and hold in any fixture. So I think Spurs is definitely targetable. I don't think that defense is settled at the moment. And I think they'll get patches where they go on this big run of forms, but they're also a team that I think is going to, concede a lot of goals and a lot of chances. I don't think that was a manager reason. I just think that their personnel and their system is not particularly great. I just don't think much of their players,
Yeah.
to be quite fair. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people have Mickey Van der Ven, and like, all well and good. He'll get you that big flary return, but he's going to drop a lot of these type of games too, where they concede a few and doesn't get DC, one of those centre backs. Touching on Saka with DC, the main reason why I think that he's getting DC is Arsenal, obviously great defensively, but how much of that, now I'm saying this with Gabriel's get to some DC, how much of that is with the ball getting to that back four? How much of that is them actually the ball higher up the pitch? And it just looks like watching these games from an Arsenal perspective, it always looks like their wingers are trying to win that ball back at the first cut-off source. They get into their pressing trap. And it just seems that Saka again and again is nipping in and winning the ball, nipping in and winning the ball, nipping in and winning the ball. If he keeps getting
little ones,
if he keeps getting DC and he blanks, it's still DC points. And we didn't think he was doing this, and just another arrow to the bow of a player that we probably can pick and set and forget. Almost like, not to the extent of Bruno Fernandes when it comes to this, but another one. Question though for you, Dom. Obviously, you own the man. Does Saka keep the 10 role when everyone's fit and ready to go?
Do you mean Eze? Do you mean Saka or Eze? You said Saka.
Sorry, Eze. Apologies. I must have said Saka.
In the interim, yes. Obviously, Odegaard's the club captain.
Yep.
But, Eze's banging in hat-tricks against Spurs. He's holding it in the interim. When Odegaard's back, interesting to see what happens because he is the club captain. So, I don't know. But they just look like we saw last year. Odegaard, honestly, might have even cost them the title. He was quite poor in big games. So it's just interesting to see when full teams are back what they do. Because Zubimendi, Rice, they're not going anywhere. Pending an injury. And that leaves one spot. And what do you push Eze out to the left? You're going to kill his output again. I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think for the interim, yes. I think when Odegaard's back, they're going to find a way to get Odegaard in the hole and probably move him out wide and probably make him less of an asset.
He's the club captain at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely one thing that you can definitely look at. Got one more game to go, but just very quickly, we are up to 9 likes or 10 likes. So thank you very much for that. We'd like to get over to the 15 like mark. So if you are watching, you haven't liked, give it a like. Also picked up a sub already. So thank you to the person who has subbed. Let us know in the chat that you did that was you, and we'll shout you out. But thank you for the sub. And if you are new around here, do give us a sub. But over to the game that all three of us watched this morning. We all woke up at 6:30 for work. We all put it on with the hope of an Embuemo firing us into the top 100K. And
we're disappointed. Damo, cover this one.
Pardon?
You can cover this one, mate.
Well, one of the craziest red cards I've seen in a while. It gives me back to the Newcastle boys going at it back in the day.
Yeah.
But United look poor against any team that plays on a low block. You need United to be almost that underdog team and playing on the break, where they look their best because they're able to use that speed and get in behind. Everton, when they want to be, can be defensively outstanding.
Insane.
And again this morning, I think if you own any of their defenders, you're over the moon. They generally get to DC. They generally get good amount of bonus points if they do keep a clean sheet. And Dewsbury Hall proving yet again, I think he's the best 5.0 base midfielder or enabler in the game. So again, going off and doing his thing. So those are all the games from the weekend. Pavlos, if you could bring up the expected points for next week, we'll go through those top sort of 10, 12 pickups, and we'll go through them and see what we think of them as a pick or a transfer in, or if you should maybe be getting rid of them if you could. Thank you very much for setting us up here, mate, which is pretty nice. And we're setting it up to 9.6 and lower, which is pretty good over the next 3 game weeks. And we'll start with a man that I have sold now. There we are. Yep, go
take it. Take this one, Damo, because I am the biggest anti-Bruno FPL manager that has ever existed. And I'll die on the hill.
I honestly think if you have him, you keep him. And again, if you want him, I can make a case for it. I watch United play, and he always looks good. And he has so many routes to points. He has the penalties. He has the DC ability. He has all of this. I do think as well, and this is something you've got to think of, we're now getting closer to AFCON, and Mbeumo is going to AFCON. He's on this list a little bit later. I think now that we're only 4 weeks away, unless you've got some banked up transfers, I know we're getting some, it doesn't make sense bringing in an AFCON player that you have to take out. So I do think Bruno is the best asset at United to buy right now, even though that feels dirty in me saying that.
Yeah, fair play.
Mateta, second on the list. I own him. I think he's great. Obviously, don't read into last week too much. He'll get back to it. Man that's had a million chances this season. You know, he did have a game where he scored a hat trick. Probably should have scored 5 on the day. I just think a world against a United side that know how to concede chances. We saw that against Everton against 10 men. Yeah, I think he's going to get some chances in this game. I don't see this being a clean sheet either way in this United fixture, in this first fixture. And then outside of that, you get Burnley, Fulham before you get Man City. And I think he's definitely a player that if you don't have potentially a buy this week for game week 13, I think if you're on a free hit, this is definitely a player you can have on your free hit drafts, which we'll go through Paul's free hit draft a little bit later as well. And then I think this is a player that is definitely not someone you're selling into at least game week 16. And even then, I think you'd ride him against City as well.
Oh, big call. But yeah, I feel like he's, again, the bigger games, like against mid to upper ranked teams, he gets like close to the 90 minutes. They do, when you think in hindsight, they were always going to manage minutes against the worst team in the league. Coming into European game weeks. So like this was always going to happen if they went 2-0 up. He was going to get. Were they 2-0 up when they took him off?
I think they were. I think they were 2-0 up when they hooped.
Yeah, you were just hoping that he had a contribution, but they're playing the worst team.
0-0 actually. Never mind. I take that back.
Oh really?
Yeah. Just looking at it now.
Paul said 0-0. I mean, still half right. He was always going to get taken off early, but yeah, it's okay. I would keep him. Like against United,
I think this is very unique. If we start seeing him get 55 minutes for the next 3 game weeks, and so be it.
Yeah.
But
like 90 minutes this week, 100%. Like, and I would be very surprised if he doesn't get a contribution, because what are Palace going to do? They've seen exactly how Everton played, you know, but except they're going to have 11 men and be a lot better on the break.
Yeah.
I think Munoz, Mitchell.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Over to Admad. I ran through who I should sell Enzo for on Fantasy Football Hub, and the Fantasy Football Hub recommended Amad Diallo to me. I think he's a great player. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's not someone that you're buying on for fantasy. I don't think he's either playing right wing back or he's playing in this weird 10, which he doesn't seem to get into goal scoring areas.
He doesn't like it. Yeah, he doesn't. I don't like him.
I think the reason why Fantasy Football Hub give him such a high ceiling of points is because they expect him to be playing right wing back solely. So he's getting those DC contributions. But when he plays in that 10, he's not getting DC and he's not having that attacking output. I personally think there's a lot better options for 6.3 mil or less. Minte being one off the top of my head. And there's definitely a few others as well. So, yeah, again, off the top of my head, I wouldn't be going for Amad Diallo personally, and would actually disagree with what the model's saying here.
Yeah,
agree, Mr. Doma. He does indeed. Scroll down a bit for us, Paul, but we'll get to Mbeumo. I think this is an easy hold if you have him, and if you don't have him, this is an easy not buy. Again, you're only a few weeks away before he goes to AFCON, and you may as well punt elsewhere. Now, yes, the pitch is really good. Palace away, not the easiest game for sure. No guarantee that they score in this game. I think they will. West Ham's a great fixture. Wolves is a good fixture. Bournemouth is a decent fixture, but it's not the greatest fixture. And then he's off to AFCON. I think if you're looking to pick someone up for 4 game week punt before they go away on international duty, you want slightly better fixtures than that. You get 2 really good fixtures with 2 okay fixtures. I think if you're going to go for a United punt over this run, you're probably going towards Bruno for the extra 0.3 mil, because you know that you could keep him longer term. But I think if you got him, sale.
If you own him, hold him. If you don't own him, don't buy him. Literally the easiest thing possible.
A man that divides opinion, Declan Rice. What do you make of this? Because he always
I'm anti defensive, like midfielder, a defensive minded midfielder picks, unless you're playing like an out and out 10. They're just too unreliable, and there's so many better options for that price point. What does Morgan Rogers come in at? I think he's 7.
Yep.
Get the 0.1, get to Morgan Rogers. But I know you boys don't hate the defensive midfielder, but as Paul just wrote in our chat there, he doesn't get DC. He's just good for an assist off set pieces, which they are. they do pop up with, but I think you take your attacking mind, and we're playing a game centered around it.
Look, over these 4 fixtures, I don't hate the pick. I don't like the pick. I think Declan's the one where you want the easier fixtures. Like, again, Burnley away 13 points, West Ham away 11 points. In the harder fixtures that he's had, Man City was only 3 points. Sunderland, which obviously proved to be quite a tough fixture for them, was only 2 points. I understand he's the second top scoring midfielder, but that's because he's hauled in a lot of games. And I haven't seen too much like well-rounded DCness. Look, I'm not against defensive midfielders this year. Look at what Salcedo's doing. Yes, he's massively overperforming his goal data. Look at what Rice is doing. He's the second highest scoring midfielder. It's definitely been a shift to players that can get DC and get points. But again, if I'm spending 7 mil, I'm probably going for someone that's a little bit more attackive. From like the Morgan Rogers of the world, or you may as well even go lower, go to Minte. He's got great fixtures and more aggressive, and use that extra funding elsewhere, or to be flexible with these new transfers that are coming up, money as well over the Christmas period. Really nice. We're not tied up in these sort of assets that aren't going to score a lot of points. However, if you're going down the route that you're having no premium midfielder, I think he's very viable, because you're going to get him at 6.9. You're going to get a few other 6.9, 7.0s with a couple 4.5s and 5s. So, yeah, again, I think this is definitely something that you can look at, but maybe not. They've got Rail next on this list. I have to not laugh. What do you think of Mr. Raul Jimenez, a man that was often forgotten on fantasy and only owned by 0.9% of the game, mate?
If you want to strike a punt in that price range, not the worst option, but is a good point of difference. Spurs, great fixture. As we mentioned, can't defend to save their lives, but City, Palace, Burnley away is not easy. Just get to Thiago, basically, if you're in that price point.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't look past Thiago. Man scoring out of no man's business to every chance. Welbeck still has great fixtures if you want to go there too. I'm looking at him as well. So yeah, I think there's better players than Raul. If you really want to punt and he's only got 1% ownage, sure, but
you have to be really.
You can chase your rank in a lot different, better situations. Over to Foden. I think this is definitely one for those that want to take upside and have another asset alongside Haaland in the attacking sense. Understand that because everyone owns Haaland, etc. The differential is obviously having Haaland and someone else that goes on. Is he the best pick? He's getting in good areas. He's passing the eye test, just can't convert at the moment. I actually am going to go out on a limb and be brave here, and people will disagree with me. I think he's a buy. I think if you can get to him, you get to him. Because I think he starts against Leeds. I think he starts against Fulham. I think he starts against Sunderland. He starts against Palace. And I think there's a world where you can go bang, 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 bang in all 4 of those games. Problem is, of course, Pep Roulette. But I think especially with Leeds at home this week, he's a buy for a 4-week punt and then move him on when you get your 5 free transfers.
Yeah, don't mind it.
Awesome. And then there's Eze as well, which is your man, Dom. So I'll let you speak about Eze for the next 4 game weeks with Chelsea, Brentford, Villa, and Wolves coming up.
I think we kind of touched on everything we need to, like the Odegaard situation. I don't know how far away he is. But I think, you see Eze in the 10 for at least the next month. And those fixtures, pretty good. Pretty good. Obviously, Chelsea away could be a shootout, could be a stalemate, could be anything. Is that Brentford, who haven't been the worst? Villa away looks solid, and then that's your target fixture. Your Wolves at home. Eager to see what sits either side of that in terms of other competitions, because you could see a Mateta type situation, but how can you not target Wolves at home? That's a triple up. That's like a double defense, and as a, if Gyökeres is back, to Gyökeres, as a Gabriel, if he's back, Timber. You want to be tripling Arsenal there. And I think that's a good bench boost week. If you haven't, if I remember correctly, because you got City against Palace. Obviously, Arsenal.
Yeah, I think it's not bad. Any Fulham assets are playing Burnley that week, so if you have Anderson on your bench, I think that's pretty good. I don't remember what Burnley had, but I believe when we were doing our planning a few weeks ago, 16 was like another good one to throw in if you needed a bench boost. But yeah, pretty cool. I don't know if there's anyone else on that list you want us to discuss there, Paul. If not, feel free to bring up your free hit draft. Bang. There it is. This is Paul's
Phenomenal
current
week.
free hit draft.
Phenomenal week to do it.
It's one of the best weeks to do it, and that's because you get your team back. That does look really good. It allows you to get away from the Arsenal fixtures, which is obviously 1 week here. Caleb's getting some good questions in the chat. As always, guys, the last 10 minutes we'll spend on the chat. So after we run through this little fantasy FPL free hit draft for Game Week 13 chat, we'll definitely go back through all the questions you had, and there's been some beauties. So get them in right now. Keep flowing them in. If you've got questions about captaincy, what Caleb's done in the chat as well, when the triple captain, if you've got chips, etc. Make sure you get your questions in. Thank you for being here. See that we're up to 10 likes. And if we could get up to 15, that would be great. Up to 177 subs. Would love one more. So if you are new around here, hit that sub button. But for those that aren't watching and just listening, this is Paul's current free hit draft. And Dom, when I read this out, I want you to give me your immediate thoughts once I finish reading this out. So pay attention. We've got Martinez in goal against Wolves. We've got Mateus Nunes against Leeds at home, Munoz against Man United at home, and Collins against Burnley at home to make up the three at the back. You've got Foden against Leeds at home. You've got Shader against Burnley at home. You've got Minte against Forest away. You've got Salah against West Ham away. And you've got Rodgers against Wolves at home. And up front, you've got Haaland against Leeds at home and Thiago against Burnley at home. Bench bring Dubravka, Alderete, Renildo, and Mark Guiu, making it a very cheap bench. And that's because, obviously, all of those players that he's picked are definitely going to start and play on the weekend. What's your immediate thoughts, Dom? Unmute, mate.
Sorry, I was just on mute there. I would be tripling up my Villa assets. If you're going to go free hit, you go for either W defense or you go Rodgers and Malin, Rodgers and Buendia, something. I'd be going Matty Cash. That would be my only thing I would do. I think they're just one of the biggest target fixtures we've seen in recent years. And if you're going to do a chip, just go for it.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's great fixtures.
Yeah.
No Mateta. What do you think?
I think it's pretty solid. I think straight off the bat, I think I would try to find a Villa asset, one more Villa asset. I like that we've doubled up with the Martinez in goals and the Rodgers.
Yeah, but I like the double, but
I don't think it's I don't think it is a striker because I don't know if we want to really go for Watkins yet. They look pretty poor and Watkins has been playing minutes. So that could be uber differential if you want to go to Watkins. Then it's a question of how do you get to Watkins in this team? And it's probably only by dropping Salah. So that's definitely a question. Do you want to be on Salah or not? I actually, and look, Liverpool fan here, Liverpool in the background, I'm wearing Liverpool top. Pains me to say this. I would actually personally go against Salah against West Ham away to get a third striker that has a better fixture and then pump that money elsewhere. So I'd probably go Salah down to, whatever, because you're going to play the third striker. So he could be a bench spot and then move Guiu up to, I probably would punt on Rodgers because Wolves are that bad. I will say West Ham is that bad. And if you're doing that, I'd probably find a way to get at least another Liverpool asset in elsewhere. You're probably going either Gakpo with the injuries that Liverpool have or Van Dijk, or if not both. So I think this is a great draft. And I love the triple up against Burnley for Brentford. I think it's a very brave move. And I love the triple up that he's picked against Leeds at home. I think what I would love to do is target Wolves to get the one more asset. And I think you would do that by getting rid of Salah and getting Liverpool assets elsewhere. I'd actually punt against Munoz this week. I think that's a very brave thing to do, but I think if I was doing this, I'd probably go to Van Dijk, knowing that West Ham aren't that great going forward.
Really?
And then I would get DC as well, right? And then I would probably have
will they keep a clean sheet?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident Liverpool keep a clean sheet this week. I actually think we win comfortably this week, but that's false security. But I think what Paul has is a very good core of a team, and I think he walked into the game looking like this. It looks fantastic. I don't know if the triple up against Burnley for Brentford is warranted, and I think you can maybe go and get a couple of other assets to make it a touch more optimal. But definitely know your thoughts in chat, and that's kind of where I think we sit on the free hit draft. But I will say this is, if you don't have free hit, or you haven't used your free hit chip, this is definitely the week. This is the best game week until when we get doubles and frees, and you won't have that free hit to use. So this is the week to use it if you haven't used it. Awesome. Let's get to some questions in the chat. Pavlos, so I'll let you bring your screen off and I'll let you throw them up on the chat. And me and Dom can react to them. There's been a few in the chat as well. But off you go, mate. When the triple captain? Dom, have you used your triple captain?
Yeah, I used it the Haaland week where he banged
and
it.
Paul's used it in game week 6 as well of Haaland. I have not. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm 95% sure I'm using it this week against Leeds. And Haaland this week against Leeds. I think Leeds are definitely there for the taking. The
Great move.
Yeah, the XG that Man City putting up is next level. And Haaland's the type of guy that goes, I haven't scored in a couple of league games here. I'm a bit frustrated. I'm going to
he had the stinker last week. He's banging it out.
Yeah, and he's had a couple in a row. Missed a penalty against Liverpool. Yes, he returned, but he missed a pen. He's probably sitting there going, man, I should have another 5-6 goals this season. I haven't cashed in. So he's going to go and cash in, I think, this week. I think this is a great week. I honestly think this is a better week than them against West Ham. But if you don't want to do it this week or you want a free hit this week and then you need another week, they play West Ham in what game week is it? Let me just double check, Mr. Haaland.
Yeah,
they play West Ham in game week 17. And I think that's a great week too. Both are at home. I just think Leeds have been the worst side away from home. I think West Ham are the worst in general, but Leeds away from home are awful.
Wolves are the worst team. Yeah. Wolves are definitely the worst team.
Wolves is the worst team in the league, yes. But I think if you're looking for the 2 game weeks, it is 13 and 17, and in game week 13 is the one I prefer. And barring any late team news or anything like that, Haaland will be my triple captain this week.
Yeah, don't mind. And Caleb, I would urge you to do the same because if I had my chip, it would be on Haaland this week.
For future, will it be smart to go to Minte long-term and transfers for Welbeck to Thiago? Oh, okay. I'll let you answer the second part of this question, Dom. Welbeck to Thiago, would you do it?
Well, for future, will it be smart to go Minte long-term and transfer? Yes. Mid-table teams, I don't love doubling up on because they're just unknown. Unless you got a great fixture on like a free hit or something, like an Aston Villa this week. But Aston Villa are probably outside of the realms of a mid-table team. They've just proved themselves to be like an upper echelon team, and they're playing in Europe. So if you got Minte, I wouldn't double up him and Welbeck. Minte and Thiago is a play, and we said we love our mid-table attackers. Just split them between 2 different teams because they're just so unknown. You get your occasional Minte to Welbeck goal to assist. Not going to happen often, but, just seeing this week, you had a Thiago goal, 2 Minte assists. That's how I like to play FPL. I don't know about you, Damo.
Look, I'm going to go out and say this. Firstly, Minte, should you pick him up long-term? Yes, because these are his fixtures to game week 20. Forest away. Aston Villa at home, West Ham at home, Liverpool away, which ain't a bad fixture at the moment, Sunderland at home, Arsenal in 18, so if you can bench him, great, West Ham away, Burnley at home. That is a superb game week 13 and game week 20 fixture run. Yeah. So superb is, I understand what Dom's saying, but if you've already got Welbeck, I don't see the point of going from Welbeck to Thiago. And that's how I read it. You've got Welbeck and you want Minte. So you want to get rid of Welbeck to go to Thiago so you can go get Minte. I think with that fixture run, they're going to score multiple goals a game. I think you go with both. And the reason why you go with both is you maximize the points when they do go off and they do go assist to goal to assist to each other. And it's multiple returns in your team at the same time. And I think it's a very brave thing to do when it is coming to chasing rankers, having a couple of attackers. And I think these are the fixtures to do it in. Would I go out my way to go from Welbeck to Thiago? I think it's 2 sideways. Would I go from Thiago to Welbeck? No. But if you've already got Welbeck, and you think that's the only reason stopping you to go to Minte? Nah, have both. I think both are great buys, and Welbeck at some point will get injured and he's easy to ship off at that point. The price range is that. But whilst he's starting and playing 90, he's a goal machine, and I think partnering up with Minte is quite the play.
Fair play.
Hit us with another one, Pavlos.
Let's go.
The suspense. He's probably scrolling through because there's been a few questions here. Got one here from Wacken Kiwan. Here we go. Yeah, for free hit. I hope as well. Wilson, Thiago, Haaland forwards for free hit 13. I like two of the free. I don't know what to expect from Wilson this week. to be fair.
Great punt. Great. I'd call him a punt.
Like, I don't think I could go out on free hit and get them to go in. You look, I know Liverpool means conceding goals for fun, but we're not targeting Liverpool, are we?
No, they're not a target fixture. If you've got players, maybe potentially play him. But
there's also no guarantee he start. I think he does because he just scored a brace, but there's also no guarantee on those minutes as well, right? He could have picked up a knock, could have picked up a training knock. The guy's made of paper mache. So I don't think I would go for Wilson. I think there's a lot better assets to go for. You know, again, Welbeck has a good fixture this week, straight off the bat. Don't know how much money you've got. Like, you could punt on so many other fixtures here as well. Like, you know, just to go out there and like spit out a few names. If you really wanted to punt around this, Spurs have been equally as bad at the back. I think you know, Raul Jimenez is a better striker than Wilson, so you could go there. You know, if you're looking at Burnley themselves, they got Brentford. That's a relegation battle, so you could go with both strikers in either game and pray for goals, which is probably goals in that game. So again, you could go to Lyle Foster or Fleming. But yeah, that's kind of the way that I would go about it, and I probably wouldn't go for Wilson because there's so many other assets. Also, think if you're going free hit for 13 and you're picking 2 budget strikers, probably worth looking at and rejigging that midfield 5 and dropping one of them down to go and get probably a striker that has a better fixture playing for a better club.
Fair play.
Who would you use triple captain on, excluding Haaland? Dom, I'm guessing you're going to say Eze for this one, right?
Yeah. If I could pick any player in the world, any player in this game week,
look, if you're going this game week,
I think if you're going in the next 4 weeks, just pick someone playing Wolves and just go there.
All right. Well, I think the thing is, what you do is let's look at Wolves' fixtures. So they got Villa this week. It's probably not one you're picking. Forest next week, you're not going there. Then they got United in game week 15. I would not hate saying that. We just saw United struggle against a low block. So maybe not United, but, you know, game week 16, Wolves have got Arsenal at the Emirates. I think if you still have your free hit or your triple captain in game week 16, Saka's the play.
So any player any 18.
Yeah. And then they got Liverpool in game week 18. So if you somehow still have the free hit in the triple captain in 18, Salah's got to be gone. So you know that you're probably going to get a start from definitely Ekitike and Isak in that game week because we're going to have a free spot up top. So you probably could safely go to one of those two in game week 18. If I had to pick who's the best player to triple captain outside of Haaland, Foden, because he's starting so often, probably have to put in the list even though he hasn't had the returns. Saka, because historically he's been great. I don't know why you would go against Haaland, though. The differential is having the triple captainship played when he scores the most amount of points, right? And I think this week is just too good.
Yeah, if I still had it, it'd be on him this week. Outside of him, Semenyo coming back from injury hard. I'm trying to think of the big performers this year. Mateta got hooked at 60 minutes. Don't like that.
But again, if you want to go to Gabriel, and I know there's a lot of brave people that probably
I'm so anti that
for a defender.
So anti because one goal you're done.
Yeah, correct. You're a very brave guy, and you're braver than me. Again, it would be when they play Wolves in game week 16 if you want to go to Gabriel, and that's if he's back.
Okay, on no Haaland all season, Jackie.
Yeah, I just don't see anyone else outside of Haaland, but excluding Haaland, Jackie, it'd be Saka, it'd be Gabriel, it'd be Foden, it would be whoever's playing Wolves in what week.
Yeah. Or you go a Salah and just hope he turns on that game, but he's just been so not there this season. Pick a Wolves fixture and someone playing that game.
Yep. Any other questions from the chat though? Anyone?
Quiet tonight, so which is all
right. We'll give you guys another 30 seconds. If you are around here and you just joined in, we are off shortly. Do give it a like as
Smash the like button.
Subscribe. We've picked up another sub, so it's 2 subs picked up tonight. We're up to 178. Thank you very much. We did get over the 10 like mark as well, so thank you again. But if you are still here and you haven't liked or subbed, please do so. I'm having a look through the chat for Pavlos as well. I don't see any other questions that I think we've missed here.
No.
And I don't think we've had anyone else. We do have actually one from very early on. If I was to buy a City defender, which one would you recommend? Looks like Paul's already answered in chat. Nunes. Any thoughts on O'Reilly there, Paul? Dom?
Well, he's my guy. I'd be taking him. I like what he does. He gets those really crappy assists where he'll just play off the ball and someone will dribble a couple of players, score. Like he does them. He inverts. But yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go pretty template and go that I think Guardiola's definitely the play if you're going for a City
look, I think you pick
whatever.
Him, it's Guardiola, O'Reilly, Diaz, Matheus Nunes. Take your pick. I think you're all going to get the same output. You know, they're all going to pop up with an assist here or there. They're good for the clean sheet every couple of weeks. It's just if you're going to go, just pick the cheapest one. Honestly, save money elsewhere. You need going to get a similar output. Pep seems to be that's his 4 in the league at the moment. So, but if you want your safest bet, pick one of the centre backs. Go Diaz or Guardiola.
Perfect. Yeah. Look, I think that's it from everybody in the chat. Thank you yet again for joining us for another live stream. We will be back next game week at the same time at 8 p.m. ACST time, Central Standard Time in Australia. We'll obviously still be doing these into the Christmas break. It might mean that some deadlines and stuff are a little bit warped as there's midweek fixtures, etc. But we'll do our best to keep on top of all of it. As always, give it a like and subscribe as you leave the chat. But from Dom and from myself and Paul, who has been producing this, even though he's got COVID, what a legend. We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you and goodbye.